Welcome back to Wretched. Perhaps you've been putting off evangelism because you're afraid that you might put somebody off. First of all, yeah, of course, the gospel is a stumbling block. Somebody's going to get their little tootsies stubbed up. But second of all, if you're concerned about putting somebody off, are you so sure about that?
Well, I read a ridiculous article this week that had been published in the Telegraph of London. The title of the article was simply, "Talking About Christianity Could Put People Off." When the gospel was shared by Christians to non-Christians, they reported in this article that 30% of the people who heard the message of the gospel, they had a more negative view of Jesus than before. Okay? All right. 60%, well, 59% to be exact, of the people, after hearing the gospel presented to them by their Christian friends, they said they didn't want any more information. That was it. I've had enough. In this statistical study, they said 19% of the people, 19%, who heard a Christian share the gospel to them when they were done said, "I want to know more about Christianity and Christ and the gospel." 19%. 23% ended up leaving that conversation with a more positive view of Christianity. Now, I thought that's pretty impressive. As a matter of fact, the article trying to get me to be quiet about the gospel did just the opposite when I just took a minute to think about what they were saying.
Well, then, maybe not everybody is put out by hearing the gospel. In fact, many are grateful. You say, well, 19% said they wanted more, but don't forget, 23% said they learned more. You put that together, 42% have a positive experience with somebody who had the courage to share the gospel with them. If and you happen to be in sales of any sort, you're starting to think a little bit, aren't you? Because you know the importance of having a qualified sales lead. You know the importance of finding a demographic that might be more interested in your particular product. While Jesus is not a product, his audience is everyone. We don't need to parse it out through socioeconomic levels, genders, ages, locations. No. We're talking about the world here. And according at least to this particular article, when some Christian had the courage to share the good news, not to get into a fight, not to simply debate or really whip out their apologetics and give them a little razzle-dazzle, but to share the gospel, 42% had a good experience. How do you like them statistics, salesperson?
Of cold contact sales calls, just to have someone be interested enough to get a follow-up appointment. The stats are 0.5%. Now think about that. 0.5% when you're trying to sell a widget or a vacuum cleaner or a yo-yo or whatever it might be. Say, here, buy this. 0.5%. We'll say, well, let's do a follow-up because I want to learn more about that. And good professional salespeople who are out there trying to peddle whatever it is that they're trying to peddle. If they have professional salespeople following up with leads, I'm talking about leads of people that here they are in the profile, the demographic, that should buy this product. Their conversion rate is only 3%. Okay, so here I just read an article that led with all this 30%, ended up with a more negative view, 60%, 59% said, no, I don't want to hear anymore. And I ended up fixating on the stat that 19% of the people, that if you were to open up your mouth and start pointing them to Christ, 19% said, I'd like a follow-up. I'd like to know more. There's not a salesperson in the world that wouldn't want those stats.
And yet, let's be honest, too often we say, nah, the odds just aren't good for me. Been there, done that. Recently going to a university campus. The evidence is my baked face from being in the sun for a little too long, is that I was reminded, if I go with the right desires to see somebody enjoy the knowledge of knowing Jesus Christ, I'm telling you, people actually are not just willing to give you a hearing, they are grateful. What are the implications to the statistics that Pastor Mike Fabara's just shared for you and for me? Do some more math. Okay, 19%. Let's just focus on the 19% who said, yeah, I'd like to know more. How many people live near you? How many neighbors do you have that you could actually walk to? We're talking about 19% of them being willing to give you a second hearing.
In the article, it said 1/3 of the people that were polled in this big study, 1/3 of them, claimed to not know a single practicing Christian who would be aware enough to share the message of the gospel with them. 1/3. Now listen, if there's any reflection of that in our little corner of the world, that means there are tens of thousands of people right here that live around us, that if they were to hear you talk to them this week about Christ, tens of thousands of people would say, I want to know more about that.
Thank you for calling technical support. This is Todd Friel, the wretch the song refers to. Could I possibly put you on hold for a moment?
Todd, we have talked about this. You cannot answer the phone this way.
Righto. Thank you for calling technical support. This is Todd Friel, the wretch the song refers to.